This is Edward back with another video. I don't know. I'm probably gonna do it this weekend. I'm probably not gonna do it today or tomorrow. Maybe. Well, actually, I may do it tomorrow because that's Friday. But I'm just letting you know right now, man. I could get all the smoke. I haven't done a live stream with MOT in a while. Um, I can get all the smoke with y'all. So, shout out to Mr. Fantastic. Shout out to Ramil. But this is at y'all audience because all this fucking, left wing, right wing bullshit. Let me be absolutely clear here. Most of you motherfuckers don't know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to the difference between Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, liberalism, white supremacy, group economics. So what happens is you all do the same thing what's ironic is the very thing that you say the left does, you all do, which is you all basically group everybody into this one little box that can make sense for you. And so what happens is I've been in plenty of conversations with the IQ argument, with a lot of different arguments where shit just runs off the rails because most of you niggas don't have a capability to calm the fuck down and actually talk about something. Here's a reality of what it is. I agree that black men often will use white supremacy as an escape hatch, but at the same time, this idea that racism doesn't exist, white supremacy doesn't exist, that it's you have to be fucking mentally ill to believe that. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because no other group, you will never hear any other group like say some stupid shit like that. Because what it shows is it shows almost an inability to actually understand your environment as what it is. And so I was on Ramil shit just a couple minutes ago, and pretty much what they displayed on there was exactly what I've talked about on this platform when it comes to hyper individualism. So I haven't explored that recently in a while, and I definitely want to explore hyper individualism and how it manifests. And one of the things that was said at the end, and to be fair, Ramil said he absolutely agrees with this, is that one dude was not, he agrees with me, not agrees with this dude, but one dude said that basically working as a group and working as a team is Marxism. And this is one of the things that I've gotten into it with Sub-Zero and stuff. A lot of times black people use these terms and it's like they try to act like it's not that I'm for one group, it's that I'm independent minded where they're saying the same shit that the other group would say. And it's a lot of this is in the nuance that doesn't often get explored. It's this, anybody that does not believe in group economics doesn't really understand power because everybody is practicing group economics. The reason why black diaspora folks who come in here and leapfrog around black people is because they practice group economics. Group economics starts with your family first. Now I know that's inconvenient because black men have an inability to get their women to cooperate. So as a result, we like to play the hyper individualist game and say it's all about me. This is no different than what game niggas do in order to they create these constructs in order to justify their own reality, and then what they do is they try to argue hard against the reality of the situation. And this is really RNC. What's ironic when it comes to a lot of black conservatives is they argue against power. They believe that the power only resides at the individual level, and nobody believes that. Nobody plays the American game that way. Only black, even your women don't believe that. And as a result, even though black men technically, individually and collectively have more money than our women, we don't have more power than our women. And so people can say, okay, I'm navigating under the heat of the night as an individual, but at the end of the day, man, just because people don't pull your whole card all the time doesn't mean to pull your whole card. And so I'm not. So I understand the individual, but when somebody becomes a hyper individual, is where they start to ignore like macro aspects of things. So they start talking about, well, white supremacy doesn't exist. White supremacy is not designed. White supremacy, it's like these niggas gotta be in slavery and these niggas gotta be locked out of everything in order for them to recognize that white supremacy exists. And it really just goes to show you a shallow nature in how they see it. They gotta say it's some leftists or rightists. Let's be clear here. The left is white supremacists. The left is just recently started calling out white supremacy. Joe Biden is just now the political system from the Republican Republicans and the Democrats, those are two sides of the same coin. The Republicans will talk about, they'll set an environment saying we need to be low on crime, and like low on crime, strong on crime. And then the Democrats will meet them by creating actual laws that actually co-signs that. It doesn't change. This is why I say it doesn't matter if Joe Biden or Trump is in office. They're on the same shit. They're just talking about cutting a piece of the pie, but black men don't understand that because it's too difficult to understand. So they want to call everything leftist. They talk as if all of this left shit has always existed. Like Antifa bullshit. That shit has not existed up until recently. If you actually look at this stuff from a 10, 15, 20 year, 30 year standpoint, and you see how things, the Republicans and the Democrats have changed over time, this stuff amorphous. So I'm just saying, any of you niggas that want to debate me, want to have a fuck on my channel, have a conversation with me, man, I'll hear you out and I'll basically knock down your arguments. Because it's easy to get on Ramil's shit and to basically be like real rah-rah about it. But the reality is y'all ain't debating nobody. Y'all are just getting panel. Y'all doing the same shit Jason Black tries to do, which is get people and try to argue them down. You come to my shit where y'all got to make that fucking argument against motherfuckers that actually know the history. People like BGS, who quite frankly is tired of hearing you niggas. And shit, MOT. MOT believes in white supremacy, but MOT owns a business. MOT has been in the military. Like, come on. What kills me about this shit is these be the same niggas that they'll talk about, oh, well, if white supremacy doesn't exist, then it shouldn't be a problem with getting married. Like, how can you believe in the female? It's like, motherfuckers, the same arguments that you all are making against white supremacy, I could make against feminism. I could say, well, feminism doesn't exist, it's just you a bitch ass nigga. Women are just doing what's in their own best interest. Why wouldn't they? That's the same argument. The same argument. You can individualize your way out of feminism just like you can individualize your way out of white supremacy. You don't look at feminism at the individual level. You look at it at the group level, and you look at the group outcome, single motherhood, all of that. And obviously things are collective individuals. But what annoys me about that conversation is when you start to deal with people and shout out to King Sigma as well. You start to deal with people that they start to lose touch with fucking reality because they got to make shit fit the way they need it to fit. And I'm going to keep it real with you. It's been a whole bunch of black men has been blown the fuck away to talk like they don't believe in white supremacy. I don't give a fuck about what anybody believes. Because here's the truth. The truth is everybody has their own right to assess reality and when to assess it. But understand that you do that at your own risk. Just like how black women like to act like the wall doesn't exist until the wall hits their ass. Which, let's be clear here, white supremacy is less likely to hit you than the wall. The death taxes and the wall is pretty much a guarantee. But that shit just gets on my nerves. And then motherfuckers are coming up, oh, you a bitch ass nigga, you this, you that. Like, I don't even take that shit seriously because the reality of the situation is I understand that they hype. They on a hype train, a red meat train. And if you notice, I never get very hyped up when it comes to politics. You never see me get animated like that. And I generally don't get animated either, but I always keep this thing logical. And this idea that I gotta prove to you something exists, it's like, that's retarded. It's like shit. I mean, most of your police organizations are not considered white supremacist organizations. But let the cops do the same shit to white folks that they do to us. I mean, it's open in the same percentages. Not know what white people are just more of a majority. These motherfuckers will start lobbying bombs and doing terrorist attacks. You don't believe me? Go look at the Irish Republican Army in Britain in the 80s. Motherfuckers ain't playing that shit. So anyway, hell, I look no further than the damn. It's just like I said, you niggas want to debate, then we can debate. But understand that you folks that know a hell of a lot more than y'all have already talked to, y'all already gotten that shit spatted down. So everybody wants to make the argument that people are anti-economics. And then they go and say, I'm glad he said that, because a lot of them believe that shit. They believe that economics is an individual sport and not a team sport. And see, what's funny is these will be the very same niggas. These will be the very same niggas to try to act like Oh, the left is stupid. The left is retarded. Okay. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of people on the left that makes money. Okay. Okay. And I understand that because they don't get called out enough. But at the same time, let's bring it back to alignment. Let's not act like the Republican Party and conservatism is not a deification. Most of these people are not conservatives. This is why I've always told you, I gotta end this video because I really gotta go. There's a difference between being a black conservative and being pro-white. There's a difference. And the way that I tell any of these niggas, all these niggas want to act like racism doesn't exist, this is the one question I'll ask them. When has there ever been anything that a white man has coveted did you fucking take him from him? Tell me that. Tell me the bodies of white men or other men that you competed against and that you've taken some shit from that they won. Because that's when you really fucking know the shit don't exist. And I'm not saying, oh, you can't do this and do that. But what I'm saying is what you're going to meet is that white man ain't going to let you just take it. You're going to meet it with a group. And part of the group is the environment. And so nobody's saying what's not possible. But at the same time, this idea that you're just going to put your head in your ass and pretend something doesn't exist, that's just a loss of reality at that point. You don't believe white supremacy don't exist? Go cuss out a police officer. Go get stopped and tell a police officer and start wilding out. You don't believe white supremacy don't exist? If you got a driving permit, go get stopped by the police and walk out with a gun on your sidearm, a gun on your hand, because you got a permit. They can't do shit, right? Go ahead and test that theory if you really believe it don't exist. Test it out. Test it out. And you'll find out really quick how much that shit doesn't exist. Don't confuse you keeping your head down and not really pressing the flesh, so to speak, with something doesn't exist. But like I said, I have no problem having a conversation. That shit was like a red meat fest over there where, it gets to the point where they rah over Trump, talk about the Proud Boys. And I'm like, look, man, I don't give a fuck about the Proud Boys. Yes, they are a suspected white supremacist organization. Yes, they are. But there's proof. Well, there's no proof. I mean, other than the KKK, you don't really have proof. What was proof? Even the government, the government was trying to say there's a such thing as black identity extremists. So because the government says that's what it is, that's what it is. So even if the Proud Boys were on an official government terrorist list, that doesn't necessarily make them a terrorist organization. White people have traditionally never called people terrorist organizations because they understood the policy they've had around terrorism. So by definition, they can't call an organization a terrorist organization because then that's going to start activating certain laws, so they purposely don't do so. Hell, you just got the situation where a black attorney general, it's starting to be proven that a black attorney general actually set up so a police officer could not go to jail, and he didn't even he was supposed to do a grand jury and he didn't even bring charges. I'm like, dude, if people don't want to believe something, I'm gonna say this just like how I say with sales. I don't convince people of shit. People are gonna believe what they want to believe because that's an emotional thing. But what I will tell people that want to play like they're black conservatives is this: do not pretend that you're not just as emotional as people are left. Do not pretend that the shit that you believe, most of which is built on the same bullshit that is funnily a lot of left-leaning people believe. When it comes to black people in politics, you have no power. So the reality is we believe in, we buy into certain ideologies that have power and try to give meaning to it when that shit was never meant for you. And you see it in how black conservatives approach conservatism. You can be a black man and conservative and still believe in white supremacy. That has no bearing on that. You can still believe in economics and still understand white supremacy exists. That's the believing white supremacy. And see, this is another argument that gets on my nerves that I could tell was over there. White supremacy is not this belief that white people are better than you. That's not what white supremacy is. And see, that's the argument by which they were making, because they always want to make it against a lot of these low-performing black men. Why don't you talk to somebody like MOT, who's got businesses, who's probably outperforming y'all, that definitely understands that white supremacy exists? See, y'all won't take that bullshit over there because y'all know that bullshit that's been in the military, because y'all know that bullshit can't fly. That bullshit can only fly in a vacuum. That bullshit can't fly when y'all actually meeting somebody that's actually bringing a nuanced conversation. And a lot of y'all know that. That's why a lot of y'all really tamp down a lot of this shit. And yes, a lot of this shit is Trump dick riding. A lot of y'all are really heavily Trump dick riding. Like, I've never seen, like, I don't get hell. Y'all, a lot of y'all niggas are getting more excited about Donald Trump than y'all than niggas that were on Obama's dick get excited about him. And it's not about me trying to call a name. It's about me saying, like, think of how hyped these niggas are getting. These niggas are getting like, oh my God, you're a bitch ass nigga. Oh my God, you believe in Marxism. Oh my God, you working together. What the fuck is that, nigga? I'm a meat supremacist. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, damn, yeah, I know I talk a lot, but damn, I don't be talking like I'm like emotionally like fucking like off the chains. I'm like, God damn, calm the fuck down. And the sad thing is, I led with what I agree with. I agree that there's a lot of black men who use white supremacy excuse. That doesn't mean white supremacy doesn't exist. Just like how I tell you the gynocracy exists. Doesn't mean I'm saying the gynocracy is an excuse. What do you all hear me say with the gynocracy? You hear me say that the greatest power you have in the to deal with that shit is the power of choice. Now, that's an individual choice. What have black men done collectively? Black men ain't really done collectively when it comes to that choosing shit. You still got niggas wanting to get married. You still got niggas wanting to be in long-term relationships. So, again, we got to get, and I want to do, I'm going to reach out to King Sigma, because I really want to, King Sigma and Nameless are two people that I want to talk to, because the delusion of the hyper-individual, the rugged individualist, is another delusion that black men have. The delusion, money doesn't matter. And that other delusion is another one. So anyway, appreciate Morning Tagbert with Super Triz. No, I ain't getting, well, I mean, I really didn't have time to do this stream right here, but I'm doing it. So, and Ramil can definitely join, and anybody who wants to be dissenters can definitely join. And like I said, you know, it is what it is. Like I said, I couldn't be on there for a long period of time anyway. I was just saying that. I meant that. And like I said, some people got to be on the panel. But like I said, I think the manosphere has gotten to the point where a lot of quote unquote hood conservatives, they've been allowed to kind of run around not being checked. And the manosphere leans more conservative anyway because it's traditional like black masculinity. But there's a difference between traditional black masculinity and being pro-white. Those are two different things. And I've kind of put that into my pocket for a while. Now it's time for me to pull that out and start actually establishing what the differences is. Because the way a lot of this shit manifests in these conversations is not like, well, I'm not going to say whether it's masculine or not, but this hyper-individualism, that rugged individualism is not the path to power. And see, Ramil understands that. That's why I can let him kind of run off the trains on certain things and then just leave it. Because at the end of the day, the fundamental shit that you need to agree on, he actually does get. He actually does get. But see, that's not everybody that's in his audience. His audience doesn't understand that. And people will say, well, I'm just taking one thing one person said, but I'll prove it. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, let me answer this question. Soul Shader speaks as, what is white supremacy to me? So first of all, there's an actual definition of white supremacy, but I'm going to give it a couple of points. Number one, I believe in group economics. White supremacy is the belief that white people have, and not just the belief that white people have, the belief that a lot of races have, that white people, and the lighter you are, the superior you are. This is why Asians tend to have that mentality too. So it's the belief that they're superior just because. That's number one. And by the way, that superiority is necessary in order for them to work together and not eat each other. That's what a lot of people miss. That's number one. Number two, white supremacy is the basically creation of laws in fact, not only the creation of laws that reflect that fact, but also the administration of breaking of the laws. At the end of the day, we are American citizens first, and under this Constitution, we also have the same rights. So when you look at things like banking or any area of activity, you can find where they are bending those laws in order to favor one group or another group. I will give you an example, even though it's an older example. White GIs, even fucking Jon Stewart talked about this. White GIs White GIs, when they came back from World War II, got free grants, free money, free all that. Black GIs never got that shit like that. Not to mention black soldiers in Vietnam War were basically put in kill zones in order to be killed off more. I mean, there's plenty of examples. And I can give you recent examples. Hell, slavery, fucking the crack era, fucking the prison industrial complex. When you look at how most people in the prison industrial complex right now were in jail because of drug possession. And now that heroin, these white folks are starting to get heroin possession, the laws are starting to get changed. The fact that you're legalizing marijuana, yet black people are still in jail for drug possession of marijuana. I mean, this idea that this shit, oh, well, they were doing dirt anyway, so that's what they deserve. I look at it from a political prisoner standpoint. And even when you look at, and let's take away from people that's breaking laws. Let's look at corporate America. Black men, hetero black men are phased out of corporate America. Not because we don't work hard enough, but because, it's, come on, man. I mean, shit. So it's like the fact that I gotta, like, so now I need to give you a fucking definition. That's like me saying, well, what do I define the gynocracy as? What do I not define fucking feminism? Oh, so I need to define feminism. That's like a white bitch asking me to define feminism. Like, seriously. Seriously. So it's this bullshit where the shit's gotta be defined. And I'm gonna keep it real with you. And I'm not saying I'm running in anybody, but real fucking talk. A lot of y'all, if folks got so, why don't y'all talk to BGS about that bullshit? There's plenty of people y'all can talk to about it since y'all got so much. Y'all are so confident in the shit. Shit. Yo, well, so provide, yeah. So anyway, so it's like this thing that I gotta define it. I mean, so and what it really tells me is, it's like I don't have to be married to realize marriage's not a good contract. It's not required for me to get married to realize the contract is bullshit. I don't have to have a child to know paternity fraud exists. I don't have to have a kid to know child support is fucked up. So it's like, it's things that we agree on that technically doesn't meet that element, but for race, but we're talking about racism. Now we're just gonna play racism that exists now. And here's my thing. My thing is, that's what y'all want to believe. I don't even need to argue that shit. Because when it comes to economics and shit, I don't give, like, here's the thing. When it comes to me doing business with people, I don't, oh, well, racism, I don't do that. So it doesn't matter. To me, I can just charge that up of us having a different political opinion, and you go live your life the way you want to live, and as long as that shit don't affect me, I don't give a shit. But what I'm not going to do is just let people just start saying, oh, white supremacy doesn't exist in this space, and think that's going to be the main, like, talking point in this space. Like, that's going to be what the manosphere believes white supremacy doesn't exist. That's the official talking line. No, that's not what I'm going to do. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. So Friday, I'm definitely going to set it up. I'm going to get MOT. I'm going to get Nameless. I'm going to see if I can get Sigma. And we gonna have some fun with this shit. We gonna have some fun with this shit. Anyway, peace out.